Plaintiff Edna Nichols says the defendant is her son, and she claims recently they got in an argument, and the defendant punched her 3 times in the face and then put her in a chokehold. So she's suing for emotional distress, the cost of a car, and tires. Defendant DeMonte Plummer admits that he hit his mother and says he deeply regrets it, but he insists it was only after she attacked him and he simply reacted in self-defense. He's countersuing because he claims his mother lied to him about his biological father.
Start with you.
Yes, sir. I normally would never, ever decide to come to do something like this, but to be honest, I feel like I am at the end of my rope with my son. I have been through a lot, and I had him at a young age, 16 years old, by way of a sexual assault. So I decided that day I committed to being his mother and that we were going to learn love together, because I had no idea what it was in the environment that I grew up in.
What type of environment did you grow up?
I was in the foster system. I was molested for the better part of my childhood. And
For the better part, meaning multiple times?
By the same gentleman.
Well, let's hear the good news. What happened with you once you left foster care?
Yes, sir. I took all of that and I poured it into my education. I felt that was my way out of my environment and sports. So I went to school and I now have 4 degrees, and I'm on my way to my 5th one.
Awesome.
Thank you. In marriage and family therapy. So I live for the youth. I live for those who are like me, and I live for my son. So I'm here for your help because we had got into a real altercation.
Let's start from earlier years. When did he first start rebelling?
He was a well-mannered student. I always got good compliments, so it surprised me maybe like a little after he had his child, which I can understand.
How old was he?
He conceived at 16, I believe, and had
so
her
up until
17.
age 16, he was fine?
Yeah, he was.
And then what happened? What did you start seeing?
He wanted to, be grown. They all want to be grown, and, you can't be told anything. So I started noticing, him talking back and some of the language that he was using in me. And I was like, yo, we respect elders.
He told you, I want to be grown?
Oh, yeah, during conversations. Oh, I'm grown.
So did you tell him to go ahead and be grown?
Yeah, out of my house.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I kicked him out.
There you go.
And then while we was talking about responsibility and things like that, one day I told him I did not like his demeanor and how he was coming to me. I asked him to get out of my house. And
how old was he then?
He was 21.
So what happened from 17 to 21?
I took care of his daughter. He had a baby, and I took care of him and his daughter. I spent a large amount of money making sure.
About the attitudes and all that, the arguments, that's what
we didn't really argue like that,
so
Your
from
Honor.
17 to 21, there was no problem.
No,
with you.
well, the unusefulness of my money in my pocket started becoming an issue.
And that's you.
Because you wasn't being responsible.
You did that. Go ahead.
Yes. So I did. I catered, and I spoiled him. And then I had to turn around and show that tough love. And when I did, he turned around and hit me with a 3-piece before I even realized.
With a what?
He hit me 3 times.
Objection, Your Honor.
You didn't hit her?
I did not hit her 3 times. I do admit to hitting her, but it was not just because of out of nowhere. Me and my mother did get into an altercation, and it was over me and my roommate at the time, which I did not want to talk about the situation. And so since I did not want to talk about the situation, my mother then got aggravated and told me to get out of her house. Mm-hmm. When I walked up, I walked away from her to the opposite way so I could leave her house. That way I did not go in front of her to avoid confrontation. My mother then came to me and pushed me in my back. I turned around and pushed her.
Objection, Your Honor.
I didn't finish.
She then open palm smacked me, which then I did hit her out of reaction. And afterwards, she then came...
With a closed fist?
Yes, sir. And I do regret it.
It's the only time you and your mom had a physical altercation?
This was the only time me and my mother have gotten into an altercation.
What did you want to tell me?
Your Honor, he turned around. I walked behind him because I was asking for the keys to the vehicle that I've been paying for. And you want to be disrespectful. So you left. You turned around and you hit me 3 times. I had to tell myself in the process, you were in the middle of a fight. Not to mention his daughter was sitting on the couch.
Let me understand what you're saying. You were walking behind him, and all you were doing was asking for your keys.
Yes, I said, give me my
keys, son. Give me my keys.
Yes.
And he turned around and hit you 3 times.
Yes.
He hit you in the face 3 times.
He hit me in my face, and then he put me in a
times?
yes, sir. And then he put me in a chokehold. And then I was sitting there, and I had to use my elbow to get him off of me. Not to mention, we ran around.
So you never touched him?
Yeah, I touched him.
No, I'm saying.
No, first, absolutely not. And not only that,
You called the police?
Yes. Well, I know.
happened?
My neighbor called the police because he was outside choking
You filed a
me.
complaint?
Objection.
Hold on, sir.
Sorry,
Did you
sir.
file a complaint?
I couldn't do it
Why not?
because I knew he was going to go to jail. He
Okay,
tried
let's
to kill
move on.
me.
Let's move on. I don't know who to believe, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Because he doesn't give me the impression that he's that type of young man. He seems very level-headed. He doesn't seem prone to violence. You wanted me to help him, so let me find out what he's doing. What you doing with your life?
So right now, I am currently working as a maintenance man. I take care of my daughter. I get my daughter on certain days. I communicate with her mother. So I don't need any extra help.
And what skill, permanent skill and transferable skill, I like to refer to it, do you have?
Yes, I have constructional work but under my belt as well. I know how to change garbage disposals. I know how to change toilets. I know how to do anything that has to do with
why don't you get some paperwork behind you then? Because the person who has paperwork and can do the same thing, they're going to get the job over you. Jobs are based on competition. People think when they don't have jobs it's because somebody sometimes they don't like you. But a lot of people think it's a bunch of different things other than competition. And so the person who is best prepared is going to get that job. And preparation means you have earned or gained the skill level by applying yourself beyond high school in most instances. Even if you have experience, okay, another person who has experience and you have experience, well, how do you decide from there? Let me see who got the paperwork.
Yes,
that
sir.
shows me a little more discipline. That shows you they're going to come in on time and they're going to do better because they are committed, because you can't earn paperwork unless you're committed and you are disciplined.
Yes, sir.
So, and he sounds like he's committed, ma'am. I know Con when I see it, and I don't get that from him. So, where you going to go and get some type of paperwork at night? You can go to community college at night. Most community colleges now offer some sort of skill that can be applicable. In fact, they offer the things that apply to mechanical skills, perhaps even the type of things you already do. You can go and get some paperwork for it. So all those things take into consideration, and you're going to be back in touch with me how soon? How soon you gonna be back in touch? 6 months? And let me know the status. Let me know what you're doing. That's enough time to make a move.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
All right.
that.
And so I think that's gonna go a little ways because he's gonna check back with me. And in 6 months, and he hasn't kept his word, it's gonna be a different conversation.
Thank you.
Agreed.
It's gonna be a little tougher.
I kept him
And I'm
home.
gonna challenge his manhood a little bit.
I hope so.
I
Understand?
might even call him a name or two. About men who claim to be men, but they're not, as it relates to life's responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
And, and that's what I do. When I go to jails, when I go and talk, when I go and speak to street youth, when I go and speak to any youth, when I go and speak to jails, I don't talk to them sweet.
Right.
Because they ain't hearing that.
Right.
I have to talk to them tough. I have to challenge their manhood.
Yes, sir.
I have to say, if you're a real man, bop, 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 bop. Well, you're not a real man, bop, 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 bop. And open their minds and bust them upside their head.
Right.
Figuratively.
Speaking.
Open their minds.
Man.
All right. So he's going to be all right now.
Absolutely.
You're going to be all right if you prove this case. What happened with the car, the tires, and emotional distress?
Well,
I heard about the incident. Don't know who to believe. So let's get to the tires and the car.
Well, I absolutely do have a text message to let you know that he did say you was the one who got your A beat the first time.
Uh-oh, let's see that. What page?
Number 5, sir.
Page 5. He rubbed it in your face.
Yeah, he did.
All right, whatever happened, sir, you rubbing it in her face certainly invoked emotional distress. Even if I don't know who to believe about who started it, I'm sure your mother, after being hit by her son,
Yes, sir.
which you admit to,
Yes, sir.
and then the son tells her at a later time, that's why I like you to try to take my life. Try to report my gun when it's not even registered. Learn the laws before you bark. Last time you check, you got your A beat. Not me want to go round 2. This time you threatened my life. She should do all that, sir. You get in confrontations with your mother like that. You got to take whatever your mother puts down on you, sir. You just got to take it. Unless it's physical abuse. Then you go to the police. So, just trying to give you and other young people viewing, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. Your mother cuss you out all the time. You know that. You ain't doing right. Everybody getting cussed out. All right, or told off. True. Christian women are telling you off. Well, some of them curse too. All right, I'll talk this Christian stuff myself, and I curse like a sailor when I get off this bench. Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me about the car.
Despite that, I still took money out of my account to get him a vehicle to set him up with more success. He told me that once he received the settlement from the insurance that he had wrecked the other car I'm still paying for, he would give me the money back. And I set his car up to be, I put tires on it, I got alternator, I got it set up all the way. And he got the buddy, and we had an argument right before that because he made a silly decision. And I was like, that's silly, son. And he was like, you this and that. And that's when he started sending me with that text message and this and that. And I was like, oh, no, you're going to give me my money back. And he won't let me see my granddaughter right now.
Hear from you, sir.
Alrighty. So with the car situation, if you read on what I have here on page 2, prior to this, I got a call from my mother asking me how my day was, and I started telling her what was going on with my day and what I'm going to do. I then asked her, could she watch my daughter for me, because I'm about to move into a hotel. In that moment, she started using all type of colorful words, and so I just hung up on her. Right after that.
Colorful words, she should send me my money.
Right?
Go ahead.
Go do a hotel.
She did say she wasn't going to watch. I'm
Yes.
not watching her.
Yes.
All right.
And she said to send me her money, that I'm a follower. And then after that, on page 3, I said I'd like to see you try when I've already talked with my baby mother, because
it was time to block her, son, after she talked crazy, and then give her a break for a minute. Because, yeah, this is abusive language sometimes I think you engage in based on what I'm seeing, ma'am. So, yeah, I'm not sure how children should handle abusive language. And I guess cussing out is abusive language. I don't know. I'm confused. I'll be the first to tell you. If your mama cuss you out, is that wrong? Right.
Well, when you gonna go spend money at a hotel, Your Honor, and you owe me all this money?
I know,
like, what?
but you like you say, you talking
But
crazy.
that's the thing, Your Honor. I was going to pay her back with the settlement money, but she took the car back from me, which left me carless, and so I had to figure out a way to make sure I can even drive and make sure my daughter gets to places and so forth.
And he tries to get out of it. He even says, you do what I'm suggesting you do now. He's getting off the phone in the best way he could without returning abusive language to his parent. I think he's a very respectable young man. I think you did a very good job with him.
Thank you.
Once again, I respect you, young man. You and your mother went through a lot together.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I admire you all overcoming those circumstances. On the other hand, what's your emotional distress for, sir?
So everything was fine with me and my mother until I was 14 years old. And at that time, she told me that my biological father was not my father. From that moment, I did not trust anyone. I did not believe anyone. At one moment, I honestly thought that my mother wasn't even my mother. Solely for the simple fact, I didn't know who to trust anymore. But I love my mother. I would never hold anything over against her. I want to see her do great. But
You left that part out, ma'am.
This is the first time I've heard this.
About 14?
Yes.
Things turning?
Yes.
You didn't disclose some information he never knew of relative to his father?
At 13, we did, yes.
Okay, 13, 14.
His father
That's why he
did.
flipped on you, ma'am. You talked about he flipped at some point. He was that's why he's flipped. He told you that. I believe it. I would have flipped on you too. Go ahead. And that's your emotional distress, but that's from years ago. I'll let you finish, however.
Yes, so ever since then, I started noticing my mother started treating me differently. And I always thought that the way how I grew up with her was how things were supposed to be between mother and son. Now, mind you, of course, parents, when they get mad at their kids, the yelling and stuff like that is acceptable. But constantly being in my face and threatening to do stuff to me and stuff like that, eventually I got tired of it. And when I turned 18 years old, that was when I put a stop to it, because I literally started talking back and started expressing how I felt about how you were treating me.
You were grown, but you should have moved before you started talking back.
This is true.
All right.
Which,
Your Honor,
also
I asked
at
him
the time, my mother gave me an ultimatum when I was living at her house. She told me either I'm going to stay here in the house and go to the military.
No, go to school.
No.
He even went to school and was lying.
ahead, or
saying,
what?
And go to the military or move out. And so I moved out, and that was when I got my apartment with my roommate in that incident before we got into an altercation.
All right, let's just cut through. I'm not giving you any emotional distress because your mother fusses at you, or you were a little traumatized, but that was so long ago. But yeah, I can understand you being traumatized when that was disclosed to you. I'm gonna grant your judgment minus 1,000, so I'm not giving you any emotional distress either. $23.38 for the car and the tires is your judgment, and you'll check back with me, or we'll be calling you if we don't hear from you in 6 months. We got your number. You do know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We got your address too, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good.
Where you live?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh yeah, I got goons there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got goons in Indianapolis. All right, judgment for the
Thank you,
plaintiff.
sir. I appreciate you. I love you, and you know that. And I don't even understand, and you know daggone well. But I didn't. I tried my best to tell you how you were supposed to. That was something else that I was also dealing with, which I don't think you understand, which is why I wanted you to go to counseling well before this.
I can't do my therapy with you when you are my problem.
I don't want you to do therapy with me. I want you to go to a therapist. I want you to go to a counselor. I want you to talk to somebody. I've always said that. I said, if you can't talk to me, you go talk to somebody.
Right, and I do talk to people.
Well, good. Well, no, go talk to a professional, not your best friend. I want you to know that I love you, regardless of what happens.
And I love you regardless of what happens.